that capability that we have.
Question number 11, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. Does he regret his statement about the Hungarian Provincial Reconstruction Team in Afghanistan? If not, why not?
The Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, no, because it was based on information provided to me by the Chief of Defence.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. What exactly did he as Prime Minister achieve by making disparaging remarks about Hungarian soldiers, which the government of Hungary has variously described as false, malicious, ill-advised and unfair? What did he achieve other than the ill will of Hungarian people towards New Zealand, where those remarks were widely reported and will be long remembered?
The Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm sure that there'll be many people in Hungary who still remember New Zealand's contribution to their own liberation not too long ago. Might I say, Mr Speaker, that the work that the two services do, New Zealand Defence Force, Hungarian Defence Force, in their two respective areas, is obviously very valuable to the reconstruction of those two areas, and we respect that.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, supplementary question. Does he think that gratuitous insults from the Prime Minister towards Hungary and by Gerry Brownlee towards Finland will have enhanced the regard that those countries have for New Zealand and the likelihood that they will support our upcoming bid for election to the United Nations Security Council?
The Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I can't speculate on what some other country might do with regards to a UN vote.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, since he has criticised the Hungarians for not patrolling in the southern part of Baglan, and his announcement that the Kiwis will patrol in those areas, has he reconsidered his announced intention to have them patrol, given that the Kiwi soldiers lack mine-resistant, armour-protected vehicles, without which they would be under extreme risk and would likely suffer further casualties?
The Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the member was offered a briefing on all these matters last week. He hasn't taken it up. It's not appropriate, nor is it...
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order. The Honourable order. Point of order has been called. The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, 2 points that I'd like to make to you. Firstly, that is not an answer to my question. Secondly, Mr Speaker, I have asked the Select Committee for such a briefing and it hasn't been offered.
Order. The member's point of order is perfectly fair. That is not an answer to the question. Now, it may be that the acting Prime Minister is considered not in the public interest to answer the question, but he should indicate that rather than going into the answer the way he did, because the question was a fair question. And so I call on the Honourable Gerry Brownlee now to answer it. Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I don't think discussing these matters in the House, given the desire to protect the security of our soldiers in any theatre of war, is desirable, nor is it in the public interest. I would point out that the member has been offered a briefing on this and has not taken it up.
Point of order,
Point of order,
Speaker.
the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, the Chairman of the Select Committee knows that I've asked for that briefing.
No, order. The member knows that he can't dispute the answer by way of point of order, but he can make a personal explanation if he feels that what the Minister has said is impacting on him and wrongly affecting him adversely. The Honourable Phil Goff.
The point of order is this, Mr Speaker. The Prime Minister has publicly announced that we will be patrolling, so it's not a case of security. That is not the reason why the Minister can't answer the question.
No, that's not a point of order, because none of us can second-guess a Minister if they invoke the public interest in not answering a question. We can't do that, and it's not appropriate to try to challenge that by way of point of order. Point of order, Dennis O'Rourke. Order. The point of order has been called. Dennis
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Could you clarify that when answers are given to a member's question, they need to answer for the benefit of the House and can't be answered by reference to offering a briefing to a particular member?
I think in fairness on this occasion, the relationship between the two issues is the Minister has declined to answer what seemed a fair question from the Honourable Phil Goff. The Minister has declined to answer it, invoking the public interest as the reason for answering it, or for not answering it, I should say, and the safety of New Zealand's Defence Forces. Now, that is the Minister's judgment alone, and I can't question that. In terms of then the Minister referring to offering a briefing, the questioner is the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs or the opposition spokesperson for Foreign Affairs, and it's not uncommon for senior opposition members to be offered confidential briefings by ministers, and in these kinds of circumstances. And I think that is not unreasonable for that situation. If that is the Minister's judgment, certainly as Speaker I can't question that judgment, but it's not uncommon to offer a senior opposition spokesperson a confidential briefing in those circumstances.
Supplementary question, Mr.
Supplementary
Speaker.
question, the Honourable Phil Goff.
When the Prime Minister promised that he would send New Zealand soldiers to patrol in Baglan, was he in possession of all of the relevant facts around the risk posed to the New Zealand soldiers, particularly since the Defence Minister has said that he wasn't, that the government wasn't, and that, of course, New Zealand doesn't have mine-resistant armour-protected vehicles?
The Honourable Gerry Brownlee.
Well, the first point, Mr. Speaker, is that the New Zealand Government has provided to the New Zealand Defence Force in Afghanistan all equipment that they have asked for. Secondly, sir, I would say that I am the acting Prime Minister. I am not briefed well enough to be able to answer that question.
Question? No. A supplementary question, the Honourable Dr.
Supplementary
Jonathan
question
Coleman.
to the Prime Minister. What reports has the Prime Minister had from the Labour Party in response to his offer to them last week?
Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
I think we all know that the Minister has no responsibility for any Labour Party reports.
I think that's a fair point. I realise the member tried to dress it up in guise of what reports, but at the end of the day, the substance of the question must have some relationship to ministerial responsibility. And as pointed out by the Honourable Trevor Mallard, the Minister has no responsibility whatsoever for any Labour Party reports. Point of order.
Just by way of assistance, if the Minister really wants help, he should ask, has the Prime Minister received a reply?
No, the member, no, he shouldn't do that. No, the member shouldn't do that. Order. Question number 12.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table a letter that I've addressed to the Chairman of the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Select Committee more than 2 weeks ago, to which I've had no reply, asking for a briefing.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Supplementary question, the Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
What response has the Prime Minister had from the Labour Party on his offer of a confidential briefing on all matters relating to the situation in Afghanistan, an offer the Prime Minister made to the Labour Party over a week ago? What response
the
has
Honourable
the Prime
Gerry
Minister
Brownlee.
Well, Mr. Speaker, disappointingly, and as it would seem from the tabling of the letter in the House just before, the Labour Party wished to conduct this discussion in public. The answer is no response has been received.
Question number 12, the Honourable Tauhenare. Now, order. Members know that's not good enough. We're better than that. The Honourable Tauhenare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.